The last conference of the day goes to Sony. Now this one's kind of another odd conference. The conference started off with a montage of various games and Vita footage and stuff like that, and then Jack Trent came up and said something like, if that doesn't get your heart pumping, then you're in the wrong place, blah blah. Well, it's a good thing I wasn't there, because I really wasn't all that pumped, mainly because it had so little actual gameplay in it, but whatever. So after their We Are the Best speech, they go into something of a surprise title called Beyond Two Souls, from the makers of Heavy Rain. Now, I know this one gets a lot of attention by everyone. I don't really see what the appeal is. Yeah, the graphics are... Actually, the graphics look pretty nice. The thing is, there really wasn't any gameplay, and it's not right to call a game great and imaging's great and all that if it's just gonna be CGI or whatever, or that's not gonna how it's gonna look when you actually do the gameplay. So it's kind of hard to judge in that regards. Don't really know what the gameplay is or not. It may be like Heavy Rain, it may not be. Who knows? There really wasn't a whole lot told about it. But it does look like an interesting title to keep your eye on. Definitely a lot of work went into it. You can definitely tell that at least the scenes, if be it rendered or not or whatever, were pretty well polished, and so it's one to keep an eye out on. We may hear more about it later on during the week, but right now it just doesn't seem all that special to me. Next up is the PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale game or whatever. Basically, it's a clone of Smash Brothers, as expected, but with PlayStation characters, which is kind of odd because are really the PlayStation characters that iconic? Whatever. Anyways, they did show. They did have a match in which they did show a four-player match, and you can tell that they had to change the formula just so that they can't be claimed as a complete duplicate of Smash Brothers. I see this as being a big hit initially. I just don't see this as being a long-term thing. Again, there wasn't a whole lot of information told about it. It was sort of a time-based challenge or whatever, so we don't know if there's a stock option or if there's going to be items or anything like that, though. There were a lot of things that I didn't notice on the one screen. That there's a lot of environmental things that get in the way, which is annoying in Smash, but we'll see. There wasn't a whole lot of information. There was only 4 characters and 2 that were introduced after, but really it's not that... It wasn't that impressive, basically. It's not going to be coming out this year, or it may be coming out this year, but I would expect something big, something bigger to go on with this than what we got here. But anyway, then Sony went into this whole huge deal about PS3 and the Vita cross-controller options and the Vita's virtual console where you can buy or whatever PS1 games and stuff like that. It's Sony's attempt to push the Vita, which everyone knew that's what they were going to be pushing pretty heavily on this conference, since it hasn't had a holiday season yet, and really it hasn't been doing too well in sales. So, again, this is more kind of just tooting their own horn and trying to do everything they can to make it worthwhile. They didn't really talk a whole lot about new Vita games coming out for it. Yeah, the All-Stars is going to be a cross-platform thing, but really they only had one game, and that was the Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation, kind of a spin-off. And that was really it for games for the Vita, and that seems really odd. You know, I would think that they would have a lot more to talk about as far as content goes, but no, that's all that they had. After all that with the Vita, they went into their own section of Assassin's Creed 3, in which they showed the ship functionality of the game. It wasn't really explained about how this ties into the game as a whole, or if this is going to be a side thing or whatever. But they did show some ship battles, and while it looked interesting, it just felt like something that would get tiresome after a while. So we'll kind of have to see how things go. They cut out the demo right when they were attacking all the two ships, and that could be quite kind of exciting. But so it's a new element to the game. Looks interesting. I don't know. It could be a PS3 exclusive too. Who knows? After that, they had their Far Cry 3 section of the conference. Now, I didn't mention this in the previous sections, but the nudity and stuff that comes with the game actually kind of bothers me. It shouldn't be included in the games at all, period. But it seems like it's, how should I put it? It's smut just to have smut. It doesn't have to be there, but it's there because why not? And that's, you know. But whatever. They didn't really go through a whole lot on single player since it was already talked before. They did go into a whole lot about co-op, and this kind of looked odd to me as well. Obviously it's not split screen. They didn't mention anything about any voice chat, which I would think would be kind of needed for something like that. And there really didn't seem to be any advantage to the co-op. It wasn't really the same story. It was just the open sandbox, and they were doing stuff. It just felt like it was, hey, we need to put something on, and so it was tacked on. So again, Far Cry 3 is not exciting me. Saw it throughout the three conferences, three conferences now, and it's not doing anything to convince me to go out and get it. So I guess if you liked Far Cry 2, then you're gonna like 3 potentially. But other than that, it just looks like a standard first-person shooter. After that, Sony went on to a very long spiel about Wonderbook functionality, which is kind of like an electronic book, or a kind of like a reverse of an e-reader, where you can, I don't know, tell a story through the screen with a book in front of you. Or it was really kind of confusing, and really I didn't get the point of it. Heaven forbid the kids actually read instead of playing a game, but I just didn't see the point. Even from a kid standpoint, I don't get it. I don't get what they're trying to accomplish with it. I guess it has potential, but it just seems like a very, very expensive peripheral for no real reason. But anyway, after that long discussion, they went into the PlayStation Suite, which was something like a demonstration of how your phones will start being able to have PlayStation games and PlayStation software and so forth. Again, going more into their response to the tablet from the Wii and the glass thing or whatever from Microsoft. Here's the thing, and I know mobile gaming is taking off and all that, but one, you have the data plan stuff to really worry about when you're outside. I know in my particular area, unlimited data plans are actually becoming scarce. There's a lot of companies are starting to stop offering that, which is kind of scary. But beyond that, do you really see yourself playing a Final Fantasy game on your phone? A long RPG on your phone. It's used as a time waster, not as a gaming platform, but whatever. Sony is basically trying to do everything it can to save face. The PS3 didn't do so well. It still is having a hard time sales-wise or making a profit-wise. Move really wasn't all that much of a success, and Vita has yet to prove to be a success or a failure yet. So I guess they're just trying to do everything they can to squeeze anything that they can out of the market. But whatever, it has potential. It may not, but we'll just have to see. The next game that they had was a kind of a semi-long preview demo of the next God of War game, Ascension. I'm not a fan of the God of War series, but it looked very similar to the other God of War games. So if you liked the formula of the older God of War, then you're going to like this one. It just seems very... It still has a hack and slash method to it. It still has, it still has the same mechanics and everything else. It doesn't look new. Graphic-wise, I don't know how much of an improvement it is to the previous ones, but just from the gameplay-wise, it really didn't look all that much different. Then Sony closed the presentation with a demo of The Last of Us, which is kind of I don't really know a whole lot about it. It's I don't know if it's apocalyptic. It's not really zombies or anything else like that, but it's kind of like the survivor horror type of a game. It looks kind of interesting. I know it's getting a lot of praise for graphic wise, and yeah, it is a little bit nicer than your typical game, but your sprites kind of feel out of place a lot of times. But it's not finished yet, so there could be a whole lot of spit and polish left for it. Just gameplay-wise, it didn't seem like anything new. Again, we don't know about any objectives or anything else like that. It could be just what they showed just wasn't that good, but it didn't help convince me to get interested in it. It just felt like to be honest, it felt like another shooter with some stealth options about it. It seems to be more of a story game. Like you would play it for the story and not for the gameplay, which if that's what you're going for, great. But anyway, so that was Sony's press conference. To be honest, I was expecting somewhat more of a surprise. The Beyond Two Souls was kind of an unknown thing, but that's years away before we're gonna see that. I was kind of expecting somewhat of a surprise initially. There was no talk of really anything special with Vita. I know there's another SKU for the handheld and another SKU for the PlayStation 3. But that's normal now. There's like dozens of them out there now. And there was a lot of talk about adding channels and content and stuff like that to the PlayStation Network, which really what they're adding is already free service pretty much if you have cable. So really it's not that big of a thing in my opinion. But There was no surprises, no really anything special. So, without seeing Nintendo, I would think this is probably better than Microsoft's, because it did have a lot of gameplay in it, and stuff like that. But as things stand, I believe Ubisoft still is pretty much the clear winner, as far as the conferences go. So, there we are with Sony. If you haven't checked out my other videos, I do have the EA, Ubisoft, and Microsoft up, and I will get Nintendo up as soon as I can. So, with that said, thanks for watching. God bless.